BX has got the facts for you. BX the storyteller, bringing the spark. No one does it better.
Hi, Miss Kim.
Hi, BX.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And I'm going to say thank you for taking the time to interview with me. Is the music too loud in the background?
Oh, no, that's what's up. It sounds really good. And I like your profile or your imagery.
Thank you. I had got it done by Ishmael Freedman. He
Oh,
did
yeah.
some graphics for me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She got swag when it comes down to laying out these kind of imagery that speaks volume to our person. Oh, yeah. She definitely be bringing the heat. She slay. She slay all day. She slay.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Hi, CP. So I'm gonna just give the audience a little bit of your background. So you're from the Negro Black Knights Heritage Club, correct?
Yeah, so I'm a founder. I'm one of the ambassador. Brother Roland is the commander, and I'm a Negro ambassador. But I've established the NBNU, which is the Negro Black Knights government. So the government that we have is right here in the state of Delaware, and I have legally separated all the past practices of us being intertwined with everybody else somewhere around April of 2023. It went to Congress and it went to the Supreme Court. So we have actually already declared our set days of separation a long time ago, at least about 2 years ago. And so we're pushing that envelope still, that mindset that, we are the Negro Black Knight Heritage Club is only dealing with our lineage, our heritage, and then reparation, which he has seven ways in which he presented to me in order for us to get a reparation. Timing is everything for me. So somewhere around 2026 or 27, that's when I'm going to file a legal human rights complaint, more than likely against the United States, for the atrocities that's happened, and have it laid out in which reparation is paid through a human rights violation. And in that way, those who are associated with the Negro Black Knight Heritage Club and those who have had bona fide experiences, they are subject to get a payment or reward from that particular human right complaint or violation.
Has anything of that magnitude been done before, bringing about a human rights case against the United States government?
No, they haven't done it in a human rights. They have tried in civil rights. I think the Africans are just trying to do it. Stop, Maxie. The Africans are just now trying to do a human rights violation for Africa, but they're doing it with the United Nations. They're not doing it against United States of America. So, and I believe the civil rights long time ago, they did address lives being lost. And I think it was called genocide. And that is as far as it got close. But I think they were threatened, last I recall, my research recall. is that eventually they couldn't keep pushing the envelope back then, because the government had threatened if they continued to push the envelopes about genocide, then they were eventually, I forgot the legal term that they used, but they used a legal term in order to force them to give up their initial complaint. And so they just kind of wrote a book about, Negro genocide.
Thank you, 65 Nova. So let me ask you a question in all sincerity. And this wasn't on my bingo card of questions that I had for you today, but you basically answered the first two questions I had when you gave us a bit of your background and a bit about the Negro Black Knights Heritage Club. Realistically, if we're talking about slavery, would the reparations for slavery, would the Africans really be um, eligible for that, considering they had a hand in the transatlantic slave trade, as far as some tribes capturing rival tribes who were some of our ancestors and trading them to the Europeans? Because I ain't gonna tell my personal belief, but what do you think about that?
Okay, that's a very good question. And that's really personal because I'm in my 60s. So came up in Jim Crow time period where, projects, we were forced in projects. We were forced in to stay and live into the project where the landlords didn't really care about anything. We were forced into moving out of the communities or evicted out of those projects without proper protocols. We were forced into dire stray in the 60s. And so these kind of topics is very personal. Now, my personal experience of me looking around, I never heard Africa not one time send any kind of warning to the United States of America to claim that we were, protected under the continent of Africa. And they couldn't do it because at the time they were in mercantilism. And so that means that the British and also American citizen have went over and given them money for Negroes. And I can say Negroes because Negroes were close in between Niger and Negro land. That was between Ghana. And so that's the reason why the Caucasian people know to put extra GER on the word Niger and come up with the word nigger. And so now Africa, to try to act like that they are possibly entitled to begin to associate themselves with, they can't touch Negroes, period, because that's not their, Negroes are an ethnicity, it's not a race, it's an ethnicity, it's a bloodline from the continent of Africa, from the Negro land. So it's not a race as we have had races. Negroes has had children, which are you all. You all are our children that is considered under the Executive Order 1164 that identified our children as Black or African Americans. And so now you have the Africans who are trying to climb up another way, which is to dilute under the auspice that because Africans, and it's supposed to be Afrikaans with a K, that's how you're really supposed to separate them from us. But because, anything goes here in the United States of America, they have been able to commingle their continent of Africa with African Americans and symposium, a dialogue in which they can say that them too are entitled to some kind of reparation, but reparation is given to the harm and atrocity that was associated with chattel slavery, which was Negroes. That's no given. Everybody knows that that was a group of people by itself that was done the most harm. Now, those Negroes had children, and then they were breeding, plus they made Negroes breed children as well. And depend on where you fall in the time period of the atrocity, then you are entitled, and possibly in a time period where the government want to pay out a certain amount of money, then you will be entitled to be written in to receiving a reparation, a remedy or relief. Africa does not have anything to do with the United States of America because Africa is considered a sovereign country. United States of America is an independent state. So Africa can't come over here and tell United States anything about reparation, and nor can Africa come. We can't go over to Africa and talk about Africa's reparation. Now, Africa just got $55 billion from Biden in a reparation justice relief. They didn't call it reparation; they called it some kind of relief. But it had some of the language in there as reparation, but it was some kind of relief. But they just got $55 billion. So now Africa attempting to co-opt the reparation struggles from Negroes to you all, that me personally, I can't stand by and allow that to happen, because one, it's an underhanded move. Two, there's no, track record to show that the Afrikaans had participated in any bloodbath. They wasn't a part of any bombing. They wasn't a part of any lynching. They wasn't a part of any, land being taken. They wasn't part of anything. And for them to just claim that they adopting us, that's basically what it sounds like they're doing. They're just saying we're adopting the Black Americans or the African Americans because they came from Africa. Now, right there, that's some trickery. That's some slickster stuff for, just by name association and skin similarity, you're trying to, act like you're entitled to some funds. But you have not, first of all, as parents, we are responsible to put a house over our children's head. We're responsible to put clothes on their back. We're responsible to look after them, guide them, and care for them. So how are you going to try to act like you are overseer because you from the continent of Africa, but if I was to look at you as a parent, you've been a neglectful parent. You are a neglectful parent that didn't care one way or other. In the 1900s, what happened to us? Or matter of fact, let me just go 1600. I like to say 1900 because I know I can get my grandmother, my great-great-great-grandmother in the 1900s. But let's go back to the 1600s. Y'all couldn't even send a telegram over here back then and try to do nothing to help us. And you sure didn't participate in any of the Negro cavalry that we fought in order to make, the flag stand today in the United States of America. So I'm not quite for sure what diabolical, deceitful mindset or invention that the Afrikaans had begun to conjure up in their minds to make themselves think that they're entitled to, one, speak about reparation, speak about slavery, speak about emancipation. I don't care how many books or how many professors you think you degrees you got, that you think that you are expert on a subject. You're not an expert on real life experience. You're not an expert on that spirit. And the books that you have gotten, most of them are watered down. So what gives you the right to make sure that the people who were victims of, slavery, and their children who's now still a victim of ongoing slavery, which will be foundational Black Americans, because I have two myself, and they're foundational Black Americans, and I have grandchildren. They're foundational Black Americans. So so I'm not quite for sure, other than a scam, that everyone know that the continent of Africa and Jamaicans and Caribbeans and all these sub-Saharan individuals are coming to United States with a scam on their mind, trying to hustle, Black Americans, because for some reason they're, not as intelligent as they think they are, to first underestimate us, based on the scenarios that Caucasian has told them that we are not intelligent. I have a postdoctorate in law. So for you to already think just because I'm Black and I'm dumb, I can tell you right now, you young, dumb, and full of bubble gum, if you don't let the white people tell you that most Black Americans are stupid or dumb or whatever it is, you've already missed the boat. And I'll land and let you. I hope that answered your question. I had to kind of build a scenario, on the fact that Africans has no probable, logical, comprehensible interest in dealing with anything that's over here in the United States of America. And I'll ask the, just a greater thought or critical thinking is why all of a sudden they're claiming to be black in the first place. Before, reparation came out, I never heard Africans identify themselves as black. They were quiet about anything related to black, and they made sure my time period understood that they were Africans or Ghanaians or Trinidadians or Jamaicans. They never claimed to be black African American, Native Americans. I got a couple of generations that are identified as Cherokees. They never once identified themselves as black Americans or black Native Americans. They always said that they were Cherokees and they stood on their tribe. Now, why all of a sudden you're saying you're black, and the only reason why I believe that, me personally, from what I investigated, the only reason why I think that a lot of commingling will, all these other groups are trying to intermingle into black affairs is because, one, they want credit that they don't deserve. They didn't pay the cost to be the boss. Ain't no bloodshed, ain't no stretching, ain't no, you coming up missing, ain't nobody experimenting on your blood, ain't none of that. So now, because Trump has said, and I'm looking at the timeline from when we start having a lot of problems, Trump himself has said that black Americans are now getting the credit for building something. And now, since he said that, everyone wants to be acknowledged or have that praise. It reminds me of a bunch of kids when your mama say, oh, Johnny did really well, at schools. He's super smart. But she forgot to say that Billy did good. So now you got a rivalry between Billy and Johnny because Johnny wants to be recognized. And now you got all these skin folks that's not kin folks trying to be recognized by white people, trying to be recognized by the, government or money that they're not really entitled. They're not entitled to that praise. And that's just the way it is. I think we got a song out that's just the way it is. But yeah, that's just the way it is. Some things belong to us. My shoe size don't fit every shoe size. Slavery doesn't fit everybody. Black and African American does not fit everybody. Just because your skin is the same color as my skin, you're not like me and I'm not like you, and you should respect that. That's called cultural integrity. And United States of America has watered down moral fibers when it comes down to people having a conscience of righteousness, and it's a shame that, we have to take out a fine-tooth comb and, check people's moral integrity. They're falling apart. It's just like, like I said, I'm in the 60s, but I hate to say it, this demon time has taken possession over people's conscience. There's no way I would go into your house, Sister BX, and then start to act like I pay your rent. There's no way I would go into your house and start moving your furniture around. Even if you did invite me in your house, I wouldn't do that. There's no way I'll go in your house and start going into your refrigerator. That's what these black foreigners are doing, and that's what these black immigrants are doing. They're picking up the same salvagery behavior that white people have, and then they're transpiring it on us. That's making, our struggle for freedom that they have in their country. They have freedom to come and go and do whatever they want to do in Africa. But as soon as we're trying to declare our true sovereignty, independent freedom, and trying to self-govern ourselves, that has absolutely nothing to do with nobody, now everybody panties in a bundle. And now everybody is coming for us when we just simply say, okay, but the last 65 years, we let y'all ride on civil rights. And y'all done commandeered that. For the last 65 years, we let y'all sit in our HBCUs, and now y'all trying to act like y'all smarter than us. For the last 65 years, we done let you move into our community, and now we have a lot of people that's homeless that's in our community. But if you was a real black person like I am, I got 3 homes that I've opened up for black people to live in, to take 1 or 2 black people out of the street and brought them into my home. Strangers, not someone I know, strangers. That's real, because real Black Negro folks know how to love and care for real Negro Black folks without the fear. But young people, if you're not about this bloodline, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's what makes you and I different. We're not the same. And then you come over here and you play like you smart. You take away from our history. You take away from our culture. And then at the same time, you marginalize any opportunity we have. You sit it as a professor, and then you marginalize or you whitewash our history, or you dilute the conversations about slavery in order to keep your job. So you're no longer appreciating or being appreciative that we fought this fight, or respecting the lives that was lost in this fight. You are now a contributor and being complicit to the erasing of the struggles that says who we are. And that right there is where I have to put a legal decree to get the Office of Budget Administration to correct this wrong of what they're called, it's called aggregation, where you just kind of put tabulation and aggregation, where you put a bunch of people, and it's like in a soup, you just make, Campbell's soup. You just put a bunch of people in a pot. And so now you have Campbell's soup kind of situation where everyone is saying that they can just say they Black anything now and be entitled to eat at our table. And, so I'm basically at this point putting a decree of separation for us from those who are not us. And I don't think it's anything wrong with that.
I don't think anything is wrong with that either. So you told us about how you're going to use your degree in order to protect the lineage and things of that nature. And so I want to touch on this with you. I'm glad that you mentioned the Caribbean, because I say the Caribbean is running amok in our government. Africans are too, right? So being from New York, they say such a diverse place, it's a melting pot, we're all together. They be on these apps lying, right? New York is actually very segregated. And so I know you're aware of delineation and how foundational Black Americans are trying to delineate, and the political term or the statistical term would be disaggregate, so we could get that soup, get the ingredients out, and just leave, the main part of it, because that's us, the main part, the fabric that built this country. But what I'm finding as I do my research, right, is that the Caribbean actually delineated first. The Caribbeans and the African. What I mean by that is that we have a Congressional Black Caucus that says that the conscience of Congress, they fight for all Black people and marginalized groups. So I found this out in February when I was writing an article and I was looking at their mission statement, because I'm wondering why, we're not getting certain things that we are supposed to get, why we're like left behind or promises aren't made to us. So I said, well, who's the marginalized groups? Hispanics, Asian Americans, they all have caucuses. I read their mission statements, nothing said Black. So I said, well, that they're in alliance with Black people. So I was like, Then it comes to my knowledge. There's a Caribbean Immigrant Caucus, there's a Haitian Immigrant Caucus, there's an African Immigrant Caucus. Now, the African Immigrant Caucus to me is just as problematic as the Caribbean and the Haitian, because the Africans say they want rights and tangibles specifically like the African Americans have. But on these apps, they are getting on us if we don't identify as African American, telling us we hate ourselves, we're all Black, but yet they push to have an African Immigrant Caucus. I think it's just not like a congressional one, but it's a group of clergy and everything, and I'm finding all these organizations designed specifically for the melanated immigrants to have, and funding of all things is attached to it. So when I say that they delineated first and that their lineage is not Black, like they want to say, it's because they know that when they want to get something for themselves, they can identify as Caribbean, they can identify as Haitian, they can identify as African, they can identify as Latino, and they get that based off of that, their ethnic group, right? And then if they're immigrants, they get stuff off of their immigrant status. So there's a lot of double dipping and triple dipping, because they are winning Juneteenth scholarships without having a connection to Juneteenth. So they actually delineated first, and they're giving our New York activists a fairly hard time. The U.S. Freedmen canvassed, I think he said 100 politicians, Afro-descended, I'm gonna call them Afro-descended immigrants, politicians and nonprofit organizations to have them push a bill for us. They said they don't know who's gonna help him if they're not getting a piece. Also, some didn't answer to answer his call. But meanwhile, in New York, especially at the height of Pan-Africanism, I'm finding out our people were out there rumbling with the cops whenever something happened to these immigrant communities. And y'all can't write us a letter of support. So that brings me to this. Brian Donald, conservative, I think from Florida. He's on a nationally syndicated radio program, and they asked him, would you advocate for foundational Black Americans to receive reparations? He says, and I'm paraphrasing, there's so many Black people here. My parents are, I'm Jamaican and Panamanian descent. So he has one parent that's Jamaican, one parent that's Panamanian. And since they wouldn't be entitled to reparations with us, he's not going to advocate for us. But are you aware of CARICOM, Ms. Kim, the agency that's fighting for reparations from the Crown, from the Brits? And they decided to take on Haiti, and none of us, no foundational Black American, no Black American, however we identify, nobody is speaking against CARICOM. And the same people that's saying they're not going to advocate for us or vote no to passing bills for us to either study reparations or get reparations are not speaking against CARICOM. Everybody is telling us that we want handouts, we need to go to work. Latinos showed up in a Chicago reparations hearing telling the people there to go to work. And so, but they're in New York at our reparations meeting saying when they migrated here, they couldn't get any other jobs besides a cleaning or a home attendant job. And for that, you want reparations? So what do you say about the people that, and we know we broke every racial barrier there was in this country, for these people to migrate here and be able to get in the government, for them to turn around and say they won't advocate for us specifically to repair our community, the same community their businesses are in? I just find that really, that's like a last straw for me. Some people say, let's delineate, and when we get things situated, we'll reunite with the diaspora, but I'm totally against that. For me, that's just me. But what do you think about that, Ms. Kim?
Well, I thank you for, first of all, being truthful and honest about you doing your homework and your due diligence, because I'm familiar with Cobra. I'm familiar with, I think it was something Kron. I forgot how you pronounced it. I'm familiar with all these African organizations / simulations of African American. I'm familiar with the Panamanians and the biracial positions that most of these Black politicians have. I'm familiar with them. I've been watching them and investigating them. I'm familiar with impersonation. You got Black people who they're not Black, but you have foreigners and immigrants who are impersonating Black and Black African American in order to conspire. And this is the word that I would like for you to begin to use, is it's a conspiracy in order to steal reparation from Negroes to Black Americans. And when you say that, you're talking about our emancipated Negroes who had children, which is our people, has nothing to do with biracial anything, has nothing to do with Black caucus, it has nothing to do with Africans or Pan-Africans. Now, anyone and everyone is entitled to their opinions. So now you have all these foreigner immigrants who know to come over here and trample on the necks of Black people, because if they don't, then white people are not going to give them anything. It's always about the bag. They're coming over to live in your image of your liberty to go to any restaurant and be accepted or treated a certain type of way at the same time by telling you that you can't come in. They are thriving and lusting after your voice that you have in Black powerness to be able to speak your truth, because you paid the cost to be the boss, and they ain't paid for nothing. They're just simply just acting like they've paid to be the cost to be the boss. And so with all the civil rights and all the human rights bills and the Bill of Rights and, all the constitutions and everything that we have fought for, they now have came up with a conspiracy no more than that of a mafia, a gangster, Wild Wild West, and, anything else that came into your country, invade your country, invade your community, and then try to establish a business or a housing on your block without no pushback. So they have learned that white people first of all didn't appreciate that we became free, and so everything we do, we must fight for it. While everyone else have realized that, our struggle with white people means they're going to tell us no while telling them yes. But at the same time, to fool the most powerful people on the face of the earth, which is Negroes to Black Americans, that they're for us, is to first shake our hands and act like they are friends. So you had when fresh off the boat, people wasn't no such thing as Mexicans and Chinese and Asian, because you had the Exclusion Act. And Mexicans were to stay in Mexico. So only people here at the time of hundreds and hundreds of years were Negro and white people and others. Okay. And so they were excluded out. But because of the fight and the desire for everyone to have this so-called freedom and liberty, we have started many, many movements that included other people. But by us trying to stay true to our integrity to love all people, one, because of the word of God, and then two, because we just some godly people, ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We have a desire to do right by all people, but we must become wiser and understand that these same people that we're willing to make a way for them, they're not trying to make a way for us. Their mothers and fathers didn't tell them to care about us. That's the reason why they bring their mother and father in that's from a different country that has absolutely nothing, no love for us whatsoever. And so now you got these selfless, soulless, disconnected, fake Black people, these knockoffs that are now in our community. And because we didn't get our Smith and Wessons and run them out like we were supposed to, we're sitting up here dealing with this propaganda that they're pushing in our community right now today, where they're sitting this black, and at first it was black and brown, then it just became brown. And then when they tried to come up another slickster way, they rolled the dice and they start saying diversity. And I can go over the diversity count right now by a lot of these organizations, and there's no good track record to show the millions and billions of dollars that they've gotten in diversity, that money actually trickled down to Black businesses, that money trickled down to supporting Black schools, that money trickled down. And you guys can take a stroll through your mind right now and ask, where's your Black young people that's supposed to have youth jobs? There is not even no more youth job for our young people. So don't act like diversity meant anything to us. Diversity was just another way for the most slickest people to come up with a plan in order to move money and touch money from every organization, from every other people, and they to capitalize off of it. That's what diversity was. And now you got your politicians who are now pulling away from diversity and have been pulling away from diversity for the last 5 years. That is the reason why you see Africans talking about African united with the United States, or they're talking about African in schools. They're already been they didn't come over here to help us build what? It was already built. They came over here to take over. And we missed the boat and not seeing that was their mindset. See, we're not looking at people as walking, talking human deception. We're not looking at them like we're supposed to be looking at them. And that is the reason why we're behind on the lay ball as far as having a counter attack towards some of these things that they have been doing and some of these things that they have been getting away with. So now you have the Africans who is basically conspiring to invade Black Americans' heritage, Black American history, Black American freedom, Black American income, money, style, everything, so that they can exist, because there's nothing over here that Africans has contributed into any war. So that's out. So you ain't supposed to get no veteran money. So there's no historical landmark money that you're entitled to, because there's nothing that says that you flew any plane, that you was a part of, a flying jet or anything. So you can't get anything based on that. So the only way that you can try to get something and benefit is to claim that you are an opposer of Black Americans still continue to fight for their freedom, fight for the same liberty that you have over your country that you were rejected from, or you fled from, or you was looking for some refuge over from, and then you came over here hooking and crooking, claiming, because the last I checked, which I'm dealing with the Office of Budget Administration right now, as of 2024, they just now put the sub-Sahara classification onto, the identity. So that means that when you was picking, for loans or what have you, you were saying that you were us and you wasn't us, and you began to benefit and profit off of extortion, exploitation, exploiting Black people, and conspiring to actually eliminate or terrorize a group of people that you have been terrorized. Because since you've been here, every time you turn around, there's an ebony alert. I'm just saying, put two to two together. Since you've been here, we have had Black men who have stopped you from actually kidnapping children. Since you've been here. Since you've been here, we have seen you in Ubers turning around, being very disrespectful for Black people. Since you've been here. Since you've been here, we have seen you call for the killing of us to police officers, to our enemies. Since you've been here. Since you've been here, we have seen you divert money that's supposed to go in Black people's community, which now we have no community. It's over, last I checked, Africans who have come over here in the last few years, it's about 2 million of y'all. So in the last 2 million since y'all been here, has y'all created 2 million jobs? That means if you ain't created 2 million jobs and you talk about you work hard, jobs was already created here by us. So you haven't came over here and contributed 2 million jobs. You came over here and took places in security jobs. You came over here and replaced Black people in the medical industry by lying on them and telling the white people that you're better, culture switching, getting a job as you were Black. But then you start talking about Black people while you got that job, being complicit in making sure that that Black person got fired from that job, so that you can actually keep your job and act like you're a superior super Negro or a superior super Black person while you on the job acting like you us. And then because we were just so meek about the situation, you have been getting away with causing, diabolical harm of hatred towards us. And so I'm aware of these agencies that has been able to culture grift. It's actually misappropriate our culture, because our culture has absolutely nothing to do with you. And the Human Rights Bill, I believe is Article 23, that actually says a group of people have every right to protect their culture, their interests, their heritage, and their history. So if you over in Africa would not allow me to come over and tell your speakers, your parliaments, yeah, I know about Africa, and your union, that Black people are coming over there asking for sovereign wealth that you should have gave us, that you didn't give us as a people you sold and allowed to be stole, that you entitled to pay us reparation. We're not coming for you like that, because we're not that kind of selfish savagery people like you are. We're not bottom feeder like that. We're not scavengers. You all from the continent of Africa and Jamaica, y'all have learned to hate each other from within. and then you do the most harm for each other, and then you associate that with us when you get over here. And because it took us a minute to realize that you have invaded us based on your skin similarity, you have caused harm to us in where we live. Most of us are now homeless. You got over 2 or 3 million of us homeless, Sister BX. So if it's 2 million y'all actually here and y'all doing great things, then how is it that it's now 3 million of us is either lost job or homeless? Because they showed didn't create, since y'all since the immigration law love y'all so much. So how come they didn't build 3 million new houses for you all? Where was the housing development? Ain't no y'all ain't got no through. They ain't built no new development for these immigrants. That means they had every intention to mobilize us out, annihilate us, erase us. And these Africans already know that America has this estranged hate for us. But what they don't know is America is wishy-washy. So America use you for their own good, and then when they're done using, they discard you, because we've been on this block long enough to know what they're about. Y'all just coming looking at our enemies for the first time, but we know what they're about. That is the reason why now Trump has just asked executive order to deport, I think it's over 7, if not 17 different immigrant nation out of the country. That has a lot to do with these so-called immigrants who are now in political position. That Trump don't want you in political position no more. He don't want you trying to make decisions that's best for. He already know you don't care about us. So he already knows, since you don't got the most powerful people who actually make America great, you don't even got them people backing you up. That shows you how dumb you are. Because you done came over against the most fierce people, which is Negroes and Black Americans. And you done come and challenge them because you think that they're going to war against us. No, white America already know how far they can go with us. You guys just don't know how far America gonna go with you all. So you all are feeling it. The coins that you have is subject to be taken because you're not really Black Americans. You are really nothing. You're immigrants. You're foreigners, and you're trying to act like you have a place in this land, and you don't. And so the only way you are trying to exist and get a bag is because you are trying to associate yourself with someone who's entitled to some kind of prosperity, and you all are trying to take our prosperity from us. And y'all doing that through sitting on these platforms telling people what we don't need. You're sitting over here in our school system letting our children get harmed so you can keep a job. You're sitting over here going into uniform, acting like you a police officer with Black people that made a way for you to even have on a uniform. And then you're going to turn around and then try to crumble and stump us out, trying to pulverize us, which you can't do it, because I can tell you the reason why you can't do it and it ain't going to be successful is because God got to have a people that is oppressed so he can show up and show out and judge the unrighteous. So he has to have somebody who can take the licking and keep on ticking. And those people who's taking the licking and keep on ticking, it ain't running. We losing our children. We losing our grandmothers. And we're still here fighting this good fight of faith, asking God to show up and make a difference for us. And you all are a part of killing innocent people, Black Americans, without a cause. Because it ain't like we going over to your country and doing anything to you. We're not even it ain't none of y'all culture for Black Americans and Negroes. None of y'all culture mean diddly squat to us. And I'm just going to be 100. We don't celebrate your Jamaican nothing. We don't celebrate Chinese nothing. We don't celebrate Haitian nothing. But let us pop off with a cookout. Here y'all come. Let us pop off with an Emancipation Proclamation commemoration celebration. Here y'all come. Let us pop off with a music lyric that said it's about us and electrifying about us. Here y'all come. Well, let us pop off with hairstyles, clothing, wear, talk, slang, whatever it is. Here y'all come. I used to speak Swahili. I care nothing about your Imbo or whatever language you have. I don't care nothing about that. But you guys care about everything we do from the rooter to the tutor. Y'all care about everything we do with the conspiracy to destroy us against our will. We're not allowing you to do that, just because you want to. And so now, since we know you're here as foreigners, as immigrant, as mixed biracial traders with traitorism heart, we're beginning to defend ourselves against terrorism, because you all are terrorizing us from the time we go to get up to the time we go to bed. And it's not like we haven't talked to you all. We have been talking to you all on this social platform about not being disrespectful, not bullying us, not creating situation to make our situation hard. We've asked and you all ain't listening. So I don't get on these platforms like this often at all. I have people following me, but I don't get on this because half of the people I don't trust. A lot of people I just, I spend a lot of time blocking people. Then I actually, spend a time, I selectively pick people who I want to talk to, because I know people have their intentions are not good. It's foul. It's salty. So I don't expose myself to a lot of people because I can't trust a lot of people. And I have to be able, my Black people, I have to be able to trust you. And so because I'm not on here, I'm the one that's sitting behind the scene watching what you do. And then I'm the one who actually calls the Department of Justice to take a look at these bad behaviors that you have or face a lawsuit. I'm that one. I'm that one who sat and seen how you all took advantage of your skin color without no proper reward that benefits Black people, that, the Office of Budget Administration tried to erase us off the censors and thinking that they got away with it. So now I'm the one who actually put together a lawsuit that actually is challenging the 14th Amendment, the Civil Rights Amendment, the deprivation that has been caused because you all has caused us harm. You have taken stuff from us that didn't belong to you. And there, no one's is giving account for it. And unless they don't want to continue to spend a lot of money on these lawsuits, because I'm not going to quit. But if they don't want to continue to spend money on this lawsuit, then they have to find a remedy to rectify and clarify that you're not like us. You're not a Negro. You're not a full-blooded Negro. I'm a full-blooded Negro. And I have had children who are classified as Black Americans, not Native Black American, not Cherokee Black American, not people who have already been here, who seen us get lynched, who seen this harm happen and did absolutely nothing to help us. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm not talking about you Southerns who came from, being contaminated with white people and Indians and all that stuff, and you call yourself the mulatto. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you identify. If I got hit by a car, then I'm not going to say everybody on the block got hit by a car. No, I just got hit by a car. So Negroes is the one who got hit by a car. Then Negroes are the one who got raped. Negroes are the ones who got their organs taken out. For you all to have vaccines and the stuff that you have, Negroes was the victims. We was the one who fought in like 45 different wars, if not more. We was the one who did that. And so the reparation has nothing to do with Africans. It has everything to do with Negroes, and Negroes' children is what reparation has something to do with. And I'm going to make sure that those who begin to come up with, these the conspiracy in order to defraud the government, because what you Africans and you politicians are not aware of, America hate to be deceived. They deceive you all day long, but they hate for you to try to deceive them. And because you all think that y'all super smart because you sitting up here shaking hands with America, America has a tendency to go back and do an investigation on that money that they lost. I can post up 5 different lawsuits where the Department of Justice has dealt with Africans with the PPP loans, where they have went back and arrested millions of nurses that's from the continent because their degrees was fraudulent, or they haven't got to the attorneys that you guys promote that's supposed to be one up on Black people, but 9 times out of 10. When you came over here with your visa exchange or you ran away from your country, there was a 2-year time period that there was no trouble in your country. You supposed to take your behind back home. Most of you all didn't take your behind back home. Y'all stayed here. And most of you didn't even extend your visa application or your application to stay here. So that means when you got your degrees, when you were supposed to return and then reapply, that means that you actually got your degree at a time period that your visa has expired. So all your education that you keep so happily to keep promoting in front of Black people like you so smart, but you actually swindled your way to that degree, is now going to be challenged by this government that we're currently in. And a lot of your politicians that you have, such as, I forgot the name, something Donalds or something he had to say, and some of the other ones who mix with these different nationality. Remember, they're Negroes and Black American, without the new numbers that they done put 2 million immigrant fake Black people to our numbers. We were almost 45 million strong. But now we're down to maybe 34, just us alone, about 32, 34, somewhere off in there in our numbers. So our numbers alone, one, we can move and shake these politicians straight up out of their seat. One of the things we're scared of is to allow this kind of knowledge that someone such as myself have, is to actually watch the time period where there's least, I forgot how many states we have, but a lot of our states allow us to call these politicians that we don't trust or that has lost our trust out of their position. So I'm here to let you know, Sister VX, for all these fake immigrants who are now trying to stay in their position, and you have another election coming up and this, that, and the other. It is not about whether we vote or don't vote with these fake Black people that's not going to give us anything or try to protect us, just as you said. It's about us now pulling together our elections thoughts that we have, and then putting the time period where we go to the ballot, only to recall these fake immigrants out of these positions that they're in, that's doing absolute nothing for us. We can call the seats of attorney generals. We can call the seats of mayors. We can call the seats of senators, Congress people. We can do all that. So it's no longer about voting for people who don't love us, care for us, or fight for us. It's about showing our power to remove them from the presence of white people. And once we remove them from the presence of white people, where are they going to go? You can't say you can't go somewhere where people don't want you. If we say, Black people say, we don't want you in our community, we don't want you in our community. There's nothing you can do about it. You can have it fit all you want to, but when Black people solidify they do not want you in our community, we're shutting your movement down, to the point that the same thing you ran from your country, which was starvation or your limited lifestyle or whatever affliction you have, we can make sure that you experience the same affliction that you're afraid of, which is to be called the N-word. You're afraid of having the police to shoot you and mistreat you like they do us, so you're afraid of that. You're afraid of losing your prestigious position that you're better than us, because you want white people to acknowledge that you're from a country that we got stole from, so you think you better. White people is just using you right now so that they can actually create a stronger force that says we empower, and those who don't comply, which is you foreigners, because you foreigners is the only one who know how to lick more shoes and with your tongue than we eat bread and cornbread. So, they just looking for that kind of, appreciation. But when they're done with you, they gonna do what they've been doing for 400 or 500 years, which is discard you. You are no one special. And so the only thing that matters is God is looking and seeing how your organization, how your country has treated his people when you came over here. So now what you all can expect what's about to happen, which I don't see, is Africa is finna go through the most. I appreciate what's his name, Notore or whatever it is. I appreciate him sounding an alarm, saying he's gonna guard and safeguard whatever. But your weaponry ain't strong enough to deal with America. You ain't got enough weapons to deal with America. So you all are finna get your country, you Africans and you fake black people that's over here. America is finna send a Negro general, someone like myself, who knows this war. I forgot his name. He's overseeing all continent. He's a Negro, and he's not gonna have not one feel, just like y'all don't feel for us. He's not gonna have one emotion to you all because y'all skin is ours. He's gonna go over there and do exactly what them white people tell him to do, and he's gonna obliterate Africa, least most part of it. Huh?
I think they removed him. I believe you're talking about Langley, and they replaced him with a European.
Okay, so that means then that definitely that white person is not going to have no fear about sending no military force over there to deal with Africa. And Africa ain't got no military weapons to deal with United States. So y'all in trouble. And when y'all was in trouble in the last time with Nelson Mandela, it was black people over here sounding alarm. It was black people over here moving petition. It was black people over shutting down stuff in y'all behalf. And then y'all have the African caucasity to come over here and try to trample over us, to come over here and try to erase us, to come over here and try to persecute us, to come over here and try to cause affliction and oppression on us, and then let us do and say absolutely nothing and do nothing. Somebody just reported your space.
Oh, you know what it is? It's TikTok language. Got to use TikTok language. What did they say to you? Because they didn't tell me anything. What did they say, Miss Kim?
Let me see.
Can you see it?
Up real quick, but I'll water down my language for the people who don't like the truth and nothing but the truth, so help them God. So I'll water down my language, but yeah. And TikTok ain't getting away with him. That's another thing. See, he just did another report. See, that's what happens when you have people on here who want to eavesdrop and not be contributory to our cause. So then they sabotage, they obstruct, and then they do a pushback, on the possibility that we are a people who are just saying we want to be free. Now, why would you be reporting my constitutional right to speak my piece? If you don't like what I'm saying, then dismiss yourself. If you don't like what I'm saying, then go study out and see what I'm saying, if it's legal, if it's binding, if it's morally ethical. But you don't care about that is because you want to continue to be here and be the overseer of our concerns. And then you want to cause us harm in the process of you bullying us and doing the things that you're doing to us. And then you get all these different methods they got, like social media, to censor what we're saying. And then you got your agencies who begin to take an approach to water down and dilute what we're saying.
Exactly. So, and this might be, let me ask you the question that I really wanted to ask you. You brought up the 14th Amendment, right? Depending on what the Supreme Court says, because I believe 28 states are filing their own claims so that they don't have to follow what Trump wants to happen, which is the 14th Amendment will not cover them, the immigrants, right? So let's say, because we do know the 14th Amendment was abused, it was not for others, it was for the children of slaves. Is there any recourse that we could take? Because this is exhausting. The 14th Amendment allowed them to really ram these people into our community. So like in New York now, instead of living amongst us, they have their own enclaves. So they got little Haiti, they got little Ghana, of course they got little Chinatown, they got little Senegal. They gotta have all these little places specifically for them. And then like when the Caribbean started migrating here, when the time we were locked out and segregated and we couldn't buy homes, hey Brooke, in certain areas, The Caribbean were able to buy those homes, right? So they was given an incentive over us. And when they were able to sell those homes by becoming real estate agents or whatever may be the case, they totally locked us out. They used their large social networking to sell to their own people, which caused a disparity in home ownership. Now, I went to Twitter one day and there was, Black Americans arguing with Caribbeans. And the Caribbean man said to the young lady, well, y'all niggas is lazy. We moved here, we had the biggest house on the block. And I'm thinking to myself, that's because y'all were basically stabbing us in the back, right? And this is something, when you do the research, you find out this is a strategy they use from the British West Indies to beat their oppression. Now, here's my thing. We understand who created all the systems, the isms, and all of that, but the way you allow yourself to be used against us is where I have the problem. So when you were able to sell those homes, why didn't you sell some to Black Americans? So is it possible these organizations that's really sticking to the 14th Amendment, knowing that's not for them, is there any way we could bring class action lawsuits against them?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So here's my thing, and you can look this one up, as I've been working on the USC section 1881 and 1883. Those are distortions and deprivations lawsuits, because the Caribbeans have no special entitlement to claim to be back. If you do the count on any loan application and you go back 10 years or so, I assure you that there was no such thing on real estate loans in those 1040 loan application, that when they ask you to identify your ethnicity for reporting purposes, that those Jamaicans and those Caribbeans and even the Chinese themselves, there was no areas on those loans under the real estate laws that actually said that their identity and their ethnicity was identified as Caribbeans, and it was establishing a Caribbean community. They got those loans and everything that they got under the auspice of them being Black, and had maybe even swindled some Black programs, whether they were in any position, and then got their, Caribbean folks together and came up with a hustle to build a Caribbean community off the backs of Black income or Black wealth or Black money. Because if you don't say you're Black, I'm not going to do business with you in the first place. If you don't identify somewhere along the line to fool Black people are not finna give you, put your Caribbean, I guarantee you, be honest and say you a Caribbean anything, and see if Black people come in your business. Afrikaans have tried it over the years. They have put up a lot of Afrikaans shop in the malls, and we as, Negroes passed them right on by. There was a time in, I think it was Kwanzaa, that we used to try to acknowledge the motherland. But then after that, we started buying their fans and different stuff like that. But they were so disrespectful then that all the Afrikaans shops, we start passing them by in the malls. And so even right now, if any, and they know this, they know if they ever identify themselves prior to them establishing a community as being an Afrikaan with a K and not a C, because that's, first of all, you have to deal with that deception. So if you're 100, why don't you say you're Afrikaan, and stop saying that American allows you to change your K to a C. No, you're changing the K to a C because you want to deceive the people and making them think that you're African American instead of Afrikaan American. So there's two different perspectives that people have the right to not be confused as to who you are. They have that right. And so each time you got someone presenting any information in any form, first of all, if you put it on form, that's perjury. So half of you all are in trouble just with that particular issue right there, that because of Trump is such a, a person that he is, y'all gonna have some problems. Second of all, you got the laws that doesn't allow you to misappropriate somebody else's color or culture. and then impersonate. You all are walking the fine line of impersonation. Why do you think that law is created? You think that law is created just because you got my skin color, that you can walk around and change your name and act like you me? You can't do that. You can't falsify likeness, even on a civil level in superior court. It's called putting yourself in a false light. You can't begin to put yourself in a false light. Don't no one want to be misrepresented. Don't nobody want their identity stolen. Don't nobody want their culture stolen. So what makes you all think that we want you all to pretend to be Black American, to pretend that the Constitution or the 14th Amendment is talking to you? Now you have civil rights, you have civil liberal, you have human liberty. And Black Americans ain't over here kicking you out of our neighborhoods. Black American ain't even striking to keep you out of jobs. Black American ain't even causing no rift in your community to remove you out of the community. You don't have any kind of pushback when it comes down to Black Americans. But you all have come here with diabolical hatred in your heart and malice in your heart to push Black Americans out of everything: churches, our songs, our flag, our history. You you all are pushing you, and then you don't want us to be truthful and say you all are invading. You guys are like aliens. That Black American never took the time and recall ourselves looking at the movie called Body Snatchers. You all have came down here and snatched Black American legacies, Black American history, Black American holidays, Black American jobs that was preserved for them. You all have came in and leached off of us and fed off of us and sucking our blood, just like the Caucasian people are doing. And you never had the intentions of ever coming over here showing us one iota a bit of brotherly love. Even though your country has a same anthem. Yeah, that's right. I know your country anthems. That includes for you all to be fair with your fellow men. This is the African anthem. To be fair with your fellow man and to treat your fellow man as brothers and sisters. But as soon as we seen you all talk about us, y'all mother and father told y'all to stay away from us. So we know where you get it from. Then you have your own divisions and hate between each other that you all harm each other and feed off of each other. So it was easy for you guys to come over here and not have any love or any care for us, on top of the coons and the Judas Iscariot that we already have here among our own people. So you all were easily able to come in here and infiltrate into our community and sabotage everything we can do for your own greed, selfishness, and power. And you all think that you all are getting away with it because we're slow to react. But, my mother always say, before you do open up a can of whoop tail, you always let the person hit first. So then you justify it and vindicate it. So for all you fake African and fake Jamaican Black and you fake Trinidadians and you fake, cosplaying Afro-Latinos and Centrics and Soulaans and whatever else y'all want to blend yourself to be, you all have had your first, you all have hit first. And now we have every right to protect and defend ourselves by any means necessary. And I assure you that most of us right now got a heart of Malcolm X than we do Martin Luther King. Most of us got a heart now of what do you call what was those three the three men who withstood the kings that was trying to harm them really bad, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That we're not about to bow down and break just because you come over here with a country that you've left and one that is trying to, act like y'all have some superior authority over Black Americans or Negroes. We're not about to bow down, and nor we're not about to bow down. We're not about to bend over, and we're not about to break. We see you for who you are. We gave you an opportunity to be our friends. You said no. We've given Caucasian people an opportunity to love us for, even though they did what they did with chattel slavery, we still gave them an opportunity to see that we still had a heart to look the other way and to forgive them. We also showed you all that we cared enough about your problems when we made your problem our problems. And in return, you all have came here and spit in our face. And now we're simply crying out, not just to each other to protect each other, but we're crying out to the great I am. And you have to be careful with someone like me, who's a student of the Word of God, who's born again, and someone who can count Bible times. You gotta be careful. This is a change maker. And then look, it don't matter. According to the scripture, he never needed a whole bunch of people to do what it is that he needed to do. He only need one or two. He said one can chase 1,000 and two can put 2,000 to flight. So I don't need a whole bunch of y'all. I really don't. I just want my people to understand the alarm is being sounded.
1 minute, Miss Kim, 1 minute. So somebody sent a request. This is a one-on-one interview with Miss Kim, okay? But Miss Kim, I wanted to clear something up. Soulaan, you mentioned Soulaan. Soulaan is our children. They're our youth. And what's happening is because an artist made a song declaring she was Soulaan, a Black American, the outsiders, right? Them people are trying to latch onto the term and say, well, we're all Black, so Soulaan should go for them. But in the original sense, I just interviewed one of the co-creators of the ethnonym. Yeah, that's for us. That's not for no immigrant or anything like that. So maybe one day, I don't know how old your grandchildren are, but you might hear them identify as Soulaan, and that would be fine, right? Because they're of the lineage. Now, the Jamaicans, the Haitians, the Africans that's trying to latch on to Soulaan is doing the same thing that the Africans are doing to FBA. Well, you come from West Africa, so we all this and that. So I just wanted to clear that up. But
and let me say this too. So because if you can prove, like I can prove with my birth certificate that I'm a Negro.
Of course.
Yeah. So if you can prove that Soulaan was a part of the 1600 and it broke off somewhere, then salute. Ain't nobody gonna argue, especially Negroes. We're not gonna argue that truth. We know how to, put the righteousness where it's supposed to be, but we definitely know how to deal with the unrighteous as well. We know how to deal with the lies and the deception. And we need to make sure that, if you have a cause to call yourself something because you came from us, and then this happened and that happened, and we can associate the timelines. I can associate the time. I can go back to 1619 with the timeline, and I have a encyclopedia here that is dated from 1793 as far as your origin and who you are, that I've read constantly, that can tell me exactly what happened. So if there's no propaganda and what you call yourself is, and you're not interfering with my people and my people culture and who we are, then you ain't gonna have no problem with me. But no one wants to be fadangled. No one wants to be a hoodwink. No one wants to be suckered. No one wants to be bamboozled. Yeah, no one wants to be bamboozled. So stop the hustling and the culture grifting that you're doing for a paycheck and for recognition at the expense of our culture. That's the problem that I'm having. The things that you all doing is showing me you have an unclean hand, an unclean mind, an unclean soul, an unclean principle, an unclean behavior, an unclean practice, an unclean walk. Everything about you all is spoiled almost. When you're trying to hook and crook and steal somebody else's culture, legacy, money, housing, why would I respect you?
Exactly. So I want to go to when you were talking about that we're not bottom feeders, so we wouldn't go after Africa for reparations. Here's my thought about Africa and reparations. So are you aware that Benin is building a slavery theme park?
Yeah, I am aware with that, but right now my concern, like I said, I always let people move first. Because
Yeah.
somewhere along there is some deception there, and they not ready for the business yet. So I'm gonna let them do what they do, and then I'm coming for them, right? But let me just say this. So my concern is first making sure that I get an order that separates all this madness that people are trying to have. They're trying to have what you call clapback. They're trying to have clapback at us because we're 100, and they're not. So let me separate that first. Then once I separate that, I have a appointment to deal with the I think it's the United States Congress Commission hearing about the facts. I'm gonna put the facts before the commissioners for them to consider all this harm that's been going on social media, all this privilege, discriminatory, bias, bullying, and pushing, and all this hate, this counter anti-hate for black people that's been going on, where they're held responsible, where a specific group of people, which is Negroes, to black Americans, is specifically protected. Ain't gonna have nothing to do with you Jamaicans and you immigrants and you Trinidad, have absolutely nothing to do with you. Then the government, which is here already established in the state of Delaware, proposes an independent sovereign celebration according to Jefferson himself, that allowed us to be an independent nation and an independent people and an independent community and an independent government and an independent everything. It has nothing to do with Jamaicans, that allow us to also return to Black Wall Street or Negro Town or Negro this or Negro that. And then we have our own, just like the Jamaicans and just like everyone else have came over and pillaged and didn't try to actually work cohesively with us about nothing. We can't see any foreigners working with us when it came. You do Google chat, y'all do Gork or whatever it is on here. Y'all do checks on everything. Check and see if you can get a stat that show immigrants who participated in the Mississippi water. Check to see if you can see any immigrant who was a part of the Katrina movement. They were here then. They've been here since 2009. They've been here. So check and see when the time of Hurricane Katrina, did they do anything to help with that issue with our brothers and sisters? Check to see if they have built any schools, or have they just actually leached off the schools that we have built. And a lot of our schools, over 2,000 of our black school, has been shut down in order to make provision for the immigrants. Okay. So now when you come over here talking about y'all work hard on what? Taking stuff that don't belong to you all? Work hard on what? Erasing our history, watered down it, and diluting who we are as a people? Work hard on what? Kissing the Caucasian people mindset and their illicit behavior? What? Work hard on what? Creating fake movies where you all act like y'all black? What are y'all working hard? All that stuff has been established. Work hard on what? Coming and trying to steal our Negro spirituals? What are y'all working hard on? Being thieves and robbers? Come on now, stop the cap. Stop the cap.
So you brought up a school. So I attended virtual town hall with AOC, right? Mm-hmm. And I did send to the lineationist Roland. I did send a link to him to come join with me, and I did that to a couple of people because even though she's over districts in New York, she is an assembly person, which is a United States representative for the whole country. And I want people to hear her because I attended one. She wasn't talking anything about the community, let alone the black community. Everything was about immigration, Trump is bad, Medicare cuts. So we were allowed to send in questions beforehand and also allowed to comment in the chat. So what she said during this virtual town hall that stood out to me, at a time that black New Yorkers, black American New Yorkers are fighting for reparations, is that despite, after she said all this stuff, Ms. Kim, about budget cuts and how the immigrants are going to lose X, Y, Z, Do you know she told us that they built an Albanian school in the Bronx with dual language capabilities? She ignored Roland's questions. I know she wasn't going to read mine because remember in 2019, people asked AOC, "What do you think about reparations for foundation?" Well, they didn't use Foundation Black Americans, but for Black Americans. And she went to talking about how we needed to check the infrastructure. So the reporter that I saw, thank God, he was trying to say, he was standing on lineage business. He said, "What do you mean? Check the infrastructure. We built the infrastructure." And then she goes on. She ignored your questions too, Keisha. Are you reading the comments, Miss Kim? They're talking about the virtual town hall. So then she gets on the talk show, and I guess they asked her again, and she was like, "Well, who's Black anyway? Am I Black?" And this and that. Now, it's important to note AOC was raised in a part of Westchester County that's not really Black people friendly. They even had an incident maybe this year or earlier or late last year with against a Black person. So I wrote to her and I said, "Well, since you didn't know what a Black person was in 2019, let me explain it to you." And then I went to tell her that Afro-Latinos are not Black. Jamaicans are not Black. Haitians are not Black. And anybody from any African nation is not Black. When we say Black New Yorker or Black American, those are those who, the ones who descend from United States chattel slavery era. Well, I knew she wasn't going to read that, but now I'm seeing more comments besides Roland that's they were asking questions and she ignored it too. How do we deal with our so-called representatives not knowing who's Black American? Or pretty much, I believe it's benign neglect, ignoring us for the plight of the immigrants, and therefore building schools and stuff where resources in the Bronx are like, I can't tell you the last time I heard a street sweeper, Miss Kim. I thank God that they pick up the garbage, but we're the last borough standing in New York against gentrification. And so you're building a school instead of giving us sanitation for Albanians. And Albanians were the group, if not mistaken, that beat up that lady in Queens who was a Black woman. How do we deal with the,
with that issue? Yeah, with the issue. Okay, so for the perspective of the mayor or anyone who's in any position, they all of them have to give an account. And let me apologize to I believe it's through Black. I can't see the rest of your name, but I think it's through Black. I don't mean to ignore your question. I'm just trying to make sure that I stay engaged with the host, and so that we can contribute to a bigger conversation as to the lawsuit that has been filed against the Office of Budget Administration that's separating us Negroes and Black Americans and African Americans from Afrikaans. So that's one of the things. And then two, if your questions are getting
She meant AOC. She meant AOC, not you, Miss Kim.
Oh, okay.
She's telling me that AOC ignored her questions too because she attended the virtual town hall call. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure our people didn't think I was ignoring them, but I was trying to stay within the conversation. So let me just say for us who are concerned with these so-called attorney generals, our mayors, and, these immigrants that's half Black, or, well, let's just say they got some kind of feeling for their own. That is called under the Constitution. That is, it falls under the 14th Amendment of what it calls is legalizing preferential nations or origins, or what you call race and ethnicity. So they have a preferential treatment. So now what you do when you're dealing with all these organizations that have already set up that does not include us, they're going against the Exclusion Act. Because there's in your city a mayor in mayor of any city and any mayor who sets up a particular area for everyone else, and you're excluded. Now they have reenacted the Exclusion Act because there's no Black community. There's no Black Power town. There's no Black Power town. So now they're legalizing preferential treatment. So when you go and deal with these officials, you let them know you see them for who they are, and it's preferential treatment. And you all and we all are not standing for it. If you got the Jamaicans who got nothing but Jamaicans and fake black signs and all that kind, but there's no black cleaners, no black shoe shine place, no black hall pool, no black nothing, where it's run by black for black people, then don't come talking to me about your culture in my community that we built before you got over here. So why is it that I don't have anything black that's related to me, and then soon we start talking about pro-black, you're talking about anti-pro-black. You hate us for talking about our community, but you're living in our community, sucking up our resources. Go on with that hypocritical, hateful narrative that you have because you want to be one up on real black people. Let's just keep it 100. Y'all want to be one up on us so bad. Y'all want to come out of our shadow because ain't nobody recognizing y'all over there in Jamaica. So the only reason why you're trying to look like you're something over here in the United States, like United States look like they all that in a bag of chips to Negroes. If we had our way, we wouldn't have been here. Remember, we're here without our consent. You all are breaking down barriers to come over here legally or illegally to be a part of a people who already showed that our kind of people they hate. And then you all come over here with the same kind of mindset that they have against us. You're contributing to the same mindset that they have onto us just so that you can walk around with with your head held up high. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm telling you the truth. As a 61-year-old woman, you, your mama, your daddy, and a whole lot of y'all and your so-called flags and your so-called immigrant, y'all don't have no character. Y'all have no ethics whatsoever. And you in our community showing out. And if we don't absolutely deal with this kind of foolery, we're going to be trampled and crumbled over by all this shenanigans because we so quick to give you a pass because you black. Well, let me tell you something, y'all. I am revoking your black pass. You cannot come in 7, 9, 8 or through the hood or up in any of things that belong to me and mine. I'm revoking your pass. No more knock off black people whatsoever. Your black pass has been revoked. We're checking black passes up, down, and around. Just because you so quick to impersonate us by saying you're black is no longer flying with us. So you can forget about it. Not only that, we're sense enough to know your character stink. We just may put up with you, but we can tell you're not us because there's something, it's a disconnect. The way you talk, the way you dress, the way you walk, you tell on yourself. You can go through all the 100 black schools you want to and learn how to talk black all you want to. You can sit in these spaces and think that don't nobody see you all you want to. But me, I have an ear to hear, so you better be careful. I have my ears here way from just talking to you as a person to going all the way into your house, knowing about your relationship, knowing about your family principle. I have those ears. I have insight to know why you do what you do. Because you messing with an old Negro who have children that I'm trying to protect, and you are in my way. And I'm not going to let you continue to be in my way, harming my people just because you got a fake black pass that we as a people were merciful. We gave you that pass on mercy. We gave you that pass on grace. We gave you that pass on you because we thought you could be a part of what we were doing as a people. But you have let us down. You Trinidadians has let us down. You Jamaicans has let us down. You sub-Saharan people have let us down. You whatever other nationality you come from that you're now calling yourself black.
Well, Miss Kim, I'm sorry to cut you off. Brooke, he has to send me a friend request, a follower's request, and I could approve him. But I don't see that name in my request right now. The U.S. Freedmen's Project, Brother Divine. Or did he enter my room already? Yeah, go ahead, Miss Kim. I'll figure it out. I just need him to send the follower's request, and I could accept him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so back to the point at hand is in regards to removing these different individuals who have some kind of our trust that be sitting in these positions, whether they are green, black, white, or blue, whether they're Afro or Latino, Chinese, I don't care what position they have, they can be removed by legalizing preferential treatment. And that is what you're dealing with when you have a bunch of fake Africans trying to steal African American. I just read something where they're actually trying to create a movement. They're lobbying for to be identified as real African American. Why would you want to be identified as African American that came through Negro slavery when you're actually from the continent of Africa? Doesn't it, why you're not happy as an immigrant coming over here wearing your nation anthem, wearing your nation flag, wearing what you stand on from Africa over here, making sure that you're not identifying with us if you're proud of Africa so much? And then why wouldn't you not allow yourself to be identified as an Afrikaan with a K that speak Afrikaan language or Igbo or whatever it is y'all speak over here as Americans, so that we can differentiate your work, so we can see your labor, so we can see that you and your 2 million people, because currently United States of America is on the brink of, last I just checked, there was just on the Atlantic Ocean in itself, there were 2 missile strikes. So how come you all and your 2 million, if y'all all about America and y'all love America, y'all gonna, y'all probably don't even know the Pledge of Allegiance. But you come over here, they probably don't. But you come over here and you're trying to build your continent in the state of United States of America that excludes us out. That is called going against the 14th Amendment in its entirety, and you're legalizing preferential treatment by acting like you Negro colorblind, acting like you're black colorblind, like you don't see us. And when you do see us, you're gonna try to take all of our bread and only give us the crumbs. That right there, that's some damnable thinking. That's some damnable behavior. And I'm trying to create words to watch what I say here on Twitch, on TikTok, or whatever this is, on TikTok. So I will prefer to speak in parabolical tongues so my people on here can comprehend what I'm saying and I can still talk, versus to be speaking plain English and language that deals with your character, that shows that you're no earthly good. In my perspective, your country and who you are and who you represent, that you have laid to the side, that you don't even identify we just forced you to identify yourself as Black Jamaicans. We forced you to do that. Other than that, you were repping that you were Black Americans. And the only reason why you were doing that was to defraud us. And then you think that was legalized, that mindset, that intent to conspire, to take something from another group of people, that was legal just because you got away with it 5 or 10 years? So what? It takes us a minute to run down robbers. It takes us a minute to kick people who climb up in our windows and steal stuff out of your pride. It takes us a minute to catch a thief. But now we done caught up to you. And we know how to deal with our legislator. We know how to deal with our executive branch. We know how to deal with our mayors. We know how to deal with people who treat us wrong. We are skilled at that because we've been treated wrong for 500 and something years. And none of you so-called Black Trinidadians, none of you said anything to protect us. Not one of you all. We have no record to show that y'all sent anything over here to show that y'all care. Not one of you Black countries ever sent anything over here making a way for our protection, saying anything positive about us, saying anything to protect us, securing any kind of funds for us in your country. Say, hey, hold on. they're really doing, Negroes wrong. They're really doing Black American wrong. This is what we're going to do. We finna set up some housing. We finna set up some funds, especially for Black Americans to build something. We're going to contribute to their development as an independent people. Ain't none of y'all said nothing like that. And the reason why you're not going to say nothing like that, because you like to see us at the bottom. Because if we're at the top, which y'all not going to have anything to do with anyway, because whether you like it or not, the Bible said the head should be the tail and the tail should be the head. So either which way, it's a turning of time. It's just a matter of our people first cleaning up our backyards and start working with each other and identifying who we are. And then making sure that we come in for the righteous sake. We're making all the right decisions. So then we get the covering of God, because most Negroes are spiritually, discerned, or we have some kind of spiritual connection to each other, whether you like it or not. It's just in the soil. Has absolutely nothing to do with you. And there's nothing you can do about it. And that's how we know who we are. And that's how we know who you not are. How you not like us. And because we are this people, and because we're now forming a legion with each other, that's the reason why you got delineation. And delineation is not only delineating, but it's exposing you all for the extortion of you claiming to be Black. That's something that you're not. So now we have legal cases against you because we're doing the paperwork. We're doing the history. We can put your action, the evidence of your behavior, now we can actually put it together, and we can go before the senators. We can actually go before our Congress. We can actually pull back our contributions to United States of America as Black Americans. We pulling back everything to make every America tick. Now y'all got trouble because y'all can't move them. Y'all can't move the pendulum by yourself, and y'all had the audacity to come over here and push us out. And y'all, it ain't even enough for y'all over here. So most of you all gonna be cowards. Y'all not finna to let us know exactly who you are, because you don't want to lose your house. You don't want to become homeless. You don't want to get the affliction that Caucasian people put on you. Y'all don't want to feel that. And you sure don't want to feel it over there in your country of Jamaica. You sure don't want to feel that over in Africa, but it's coming anyway. Because those is a group of people, according to the scriptures in the timeline, we're separating because, first of all, it's a spirit of separation. He said, come out of her, my people. And that's just the way it is. The real people who love righteousness, we're moving away from anything that's not like us, period. And that includes you who have opposed us for so long. Now, since that is happening and Black people are feeling they're in the frequency of that, you ain't gonna be able to shake no Black people who are moving by faith. You can forget about it. Ain't no platform you gonna create. Ain't no deception of topics that you gonna be able to scream to the top of your lung. It ain't gonna help you. I'm telling you that right now. So you can try all you want. It still ain't gonna shake us not one bit. And now you got trouble because we're moving by faith now. And then once you see us moving by faith, then you got someone like me that comes in and solidify what you all are doing to protect each other with the law. So now we're fenced in and protected both by God and the law. Your fox's behavior is not going to be able to run through. You're not going to be able to have access to break us down no more, because we're now building a barrier to protect us against you. And that's a cotton picking shame. That's really Negro saying right there, cotton picking shame. You know that's bad. You know that's bad, right? Cotton picking, right? That goes to show you where I'm from, right? Because my grandmother's from Virginia, and my mother's from Texas, and so that's all we're familiar. And folks from Carolina, that's all we know is about some cotton, right? So we easily was able to tell you that's a cotton picking shame when your behavior is so diabolical and damnable that we have to do all this in order to survive against our so-called brothers and our so-called sisters, our so-called cousin, our so-called fam, our so-called Black people that is now taking the seat that we should be on, we should ride on, we should walk and they should ride. They want to ride while they make us walk. They want to be free while they put us back in chains. Who does that? And then want us to say, oh, it's okay, we still can get along. Oh, it's okay, I'm still going to give you my hard-earned money while you pull my edges out. Why you sit up there and clap back and act puff because I'm telling you that the style that you did, I didn't want. And now because you think that when we are faced with a situation that we know not to call, the government to help us, but we got ways to deal with you. One, we're going to pull back our money and let your own people help you, but that's not enough. You may survive for a minute. But when black people start pulling back black people funds from everything, then we're starving you out. We're starving you out, and that's where we are at right now. We need to continue to work together, and we need to continue to look at right and wrong, and then we need to identify these issues that go against the law of the land. They always talk about law and order, law and order. If y'all so law and order, how come y'all ain't clapping back with these current lynching that's on the HBCU? Y'all so law and order.
The L word, we got to say strange fruit.
What do you mean, Sista BX? What do you mean?
So the LYNCHING, we have to say strange fruit. That's probably why you got a violation earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they be hitting us with violations if we don't keep it TikTok friendly.
Yeah.
Miss Kim, you done answered every question I had. But I do have one, and then if you have time, I would like to open up the panel because I do believe Brotherhood Jedi. Did you ever hear of From Philly to Flint?
I know. I think the only thing that came close to something that came out of Flint was Flint Barbecue that was in California.
Okay, so what it was when we found out that their water system was basically destroying the community and some were falling sick. Philly, a truckload of Philly brothers, okay, packed up trucks of water bottles during the winter blizzard, right? And actually took it to Flint.
Nice.
They did it first. They assisted Flint first, and I remember this, right? And then what happened was celebrities started getting involved, like Cher. And then after that, the brothers' involvement sort of it wasn't diminished because I know they still stood on business, but they weren't spotlighted. But they were the first one, trucks loaded, driving to Flint in the snow. And Brotherhood Jedi was a part of those that mission there to help our brothers and sisters in Flint. So the last question I wanted to ask you was, what do you envision for the future of Negroes and their descendants? And how does your vision align with the hopes of those who identify as foundational Black Americans?
Okay, so my visions is for Negroes and Black Americans to become memberships of the Negro Black Nation United World Government. And with that government is to oversee making sure the sovereignty that we're looking for, both with land and also with being able to govern our family structure, the right to defend ourselves, create our constitutions, which I'm working on, all those things that every other country has, that we are identified according to Jefferson. That's why the Negro Black Knight Heritage Club, he has that emblem on there. That emblem is a certified emblem of the emancipation that was given to my people, which was the Negroes, in order to declare our independence. So we don't have to continue to fight for independence we were already given. We just never acted upon it. Well, now, because I'm a, kind of borderline millennium kind of sister, Negro sister, that I'm activating it now. So now that true liberty that everyone else have, that my people become educated to know that I have a vision to let you, before time pass, to let you live in true liberty and freedom that we have not actually been able to obtain yet, but it's around the corner for righteousness' sake. It's around the corner for my people anyway, or those who have an ear to hear that this is the best move currently.
I hate when that happens. She must have got a phone call. You got a phone call?
Yeah. My husband, I have to make sure my husband is okay. But yeah, but my thing is to secure resources according to, you know, the things that we need from the government. I don't need the government to help me give you guys housing and stuff like that. I can already pull that stuff down and get it to you. I don't need that. I don't need to have your civil officials policing our community. I don't need that. There's too many laws that allow me to have us to, you know, create a Negro to FBA army on ourselves. I don't need them to do that. I don't need nothing from them. Now, if you all are really want some true freedom and true liberty and restore your resources that we have already given you anyway, it's already there. But if I can't begin to say, you know, hey, you know, my son and my daughter is my children by blood, and then I know their name. If I don't know your name, how am I going to be able to give you the wheel? How am I going to give you the inheritance that other people are taking from you when you won't even identify yourself under the Negro Black Knight Heritage Club? Or you won't even come and be a member of the Negro Black Nation United Government, so that I can begin to give you resources to protect yourself and your children while you at school, or give you resources to deal. We have the Long Bow legal response program where we're dealing with the Karens and the phone calls and the police people. We're dealing with from the rooter to the tutor. We coming for you, but you don't know nothing about that because you're not even a part of that, and you won't give us a chance to just search you out to see if you 100. We don't want no fake people a part of us. If you're not a Judas Iscariot, then you more than welcome to come check us out. And we will give you everything that you is entitled to have. So my vision is let me tell you this according to the scriptures. God said, I would to God that no man be burdened and another man be at ease. You got all these immigrants and different people in this country at ease, while you and I and our children is burdened. But he said, that's not so. Then you tell me, since y'all your generation that got all the technology and y'all super smart, then tell me how come my children are more likely not to leave a hospital when other children are? Tell me how come my black men and black son, I have to oversee to make sure that they can at least go to the store and back or sit in the car or be with their friends and talk comfortably or go to a job, while other children gets to come and go as they please? How come other people are getting to protect land that we built on that is operating by black inventions, but yet we ourselves, our stuff is getting restricted or pulled back or taken from us? Y'all tell me that, riddle me that. Why are we burdening everybody else is exit? God said it wasn't supposed to be so. So then that means we're doing two things. We're allowing somebody to push and bully us around, and they're just taking us at will, or we just some gullible, simple-minded, lick booties, buffoons. Y'all tell me, and I'll land with that, but I want someone to answer me that question. How y'all gonna tell me that I should be burdened and everybody should be feeling good, but I should be feared to take my grandbaby to go to a park, or my children having freedom? It ain't no justice in the justice system. So y'all tell me, how y'all gonna help me understand that you all some great people with your intelligence and with your intellects and with your AI intelligence? How is that finna make me have a sovereign government? I already have a sovereign government. I already declared a sovereign on April the 4th, 2023. And they did everything they can to make sure y'all didn't get the message. But go ahead and I'll land.
Thank you so much, Miss Kim. You said lick booties. I said, dang. But I want to say that we were kind-hearted. We were treating others who were melanated like us as we wanted to be treated. A lot of us did not. I think some of us are still in denial. Some eyes have opened. If I had not done my due diligence and really looked at the likes of Yvette Clarke, who stands on at Jamaica's Independence Day and declares Brooklyn another parish of Jamaica, calling for more immigrants. And then I actually compared her advocacy for the Caribbean versus her advocacy for foundational Black Americans. And that pales in comparison for what she does for us. But because she will say she supports the HR 40 bill, They say she advocates for Black Americans, but however, that bill, I believe, says African American, and African American isn't properly defined because, as we know, Jamaicans are identifying as that, and so are Africans. So
let me say this too before you move the conversation to the other brothers and sisters that's on the panel. Immigrants have to be careful, according to the immigrant law, not to get too far in politician that sways their right to be here as citizens. So when it comes down to us, they already know there's just certain things they're not to even support or contribute to. So you thinking that they are able to help us already is some naive thinking, So let's first of all, if we're independent people such as we are, let's go ahead and clear the air. I don't need an immigrant to do nothing for me because you can't do nothing for me. You don't have the power to do nothing for me. You don't have God's power. You don't have legal power. You have no money. The money that you're getting that you came over here as an immigrant is welfare recipients. You all are recipients. United States of America is a welfare recipient itself. When Negroes started building stuff for you for free, you became a recipient of Negroes. When Negroes start having children that fed your children and breastfeed your children, you are recipients of our food that came out of our nipples, okay? You are the recipients when you come over here and you go through social services program and all these programs that they build because they didn't want to pay us for all our labor that we worked for in the inventions that they're stole. That means that they have been recipients. And right now today, the reason why they don't want to pay reparation is because they want to continue to be welfare recipients or slavery recipients of labor that they did not work for. So why would I ask any immigrant to help me or put them in a position to help me? And if they were so proud to be able to mover and shakers, then how come they wasn't telling us who they were? Even Kamala couldn't even fairly say that she was a Jamaican and what is her other half that she come from? Jamaican
and Indian.
Indian, yeah, that's right. How if she was so 100 and she was so honest, how come she didn't say that? Because 9 times out of 10, Caucasian American liken a lot of these immigrants to a terrorist. They associate a lot of them to the 9/11 incident. So a lot of them are not quick to accept a lot of these immigrants that coming over. They have historical history with dealing with them when it comes down to international wars. And now they have guns on them over here. Why you think Trump is smooth? He's a smooth operator and y'all don't even see it. He's a smooth operator because he's concerned about sleeping cells. So he's beginning to move these bad boys up out of the country before stuff pop off. And when stuff pop off, these same people who are you close proximity to, who are jealous of you, are going to throw you out under the bus. They're already doing it right now. So we must begin to clarify who's for us and who's against us. And we must begin to build a wall to keep the foxes from running in and taking our stuff that don't belong to us into the right to live. We have the right to live. We have a right to be happy. We have a right to do what we do without no interference with other people. And if you big and bad enough to handle United States of America, then go ahead and build your cities like you're doing and your little towns like you're doing. But when stuff pop off, leave us out of it like you doing now. Leave us out of it. When we want to come for you because you claimed that you were helping black people, and I go look at the government funds that you said that you were helping black people, and I can tell you misappropriate that funds for you nonprofit, fake African, fake immigrant, frank diversity programs that out there to keep putting my people into your what you call your business plan. You keep putting us in your city redevelopment plan so you can get billions of dollars to build an urban community. And then when we look at the money, you ain't built no urban community. You built an immigrant community. That's misappropriation of funds. But because my people ain't got this lesson, now y'all know. So the city is responsible for misappropriating at least 10 years of y'all money that had something to do with Black American funds that you ain't got no dime. I didn't get no money. I didn't get no money during COVID. I had to go into my emergency money to make a way for my people. I didn't get no money during COVID. Okay? But these immigrants are now getting charged for fraud in the millions because they are smart enough to go behind the scenes with technology and start trying to con the government. And they gotten this money. Now the government is settled. The government is in deficit. The government trying to come up with no money. Well, guess what? They're going to go back and see. Was anybody getting any money from any of these federal and state programs, whether it was loans, whether it was the PPPs, whether it was your job hire, whether it was grants, whatever this stuff is that y'all got, and y'all was laughing at black people because black people ain't no thieves like that. Black people are not con artists like that. So we're not quick to run after Caucasians' money like that when we know if we're not legit, we're not finna come for you that money like that. We'll just let it slide. So y'all bypassed us by hooking and crooking, and you got that money illegally. Now the government got a task force that's coming for you, and I land.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Here he goes. Brotherhood Jedi. I was conducting a one-on-one interview when you first requested, but the panel is open now. So I would like to welcome Brother Simon and Sista Breuck to the panel. How are y'all?
I'm doing well. I am gonna let Sista Breuck go first because I'm actually about to listen. Sister Kim, you was cooking. I agree with every single thing that you said, and it's invigorating to hear another sister really on this political time that we all should have been on. You know what it is, sister? We are recovering from that saying that we don't talk religion and politics at the kitchen table, because now that's all we talking is politics at the kitchen table, at the nursery table, at the hospital table, on these internet tables. We are recovering from that. We went through that era. But yes, I'm gonna actually just drop back down to the listeners because this panel is filled with intelligent minds, and I do want to be a student, and I'm cool with listening right now. I just wanted to say, sisters, just keep your foot on their neck, keep your foot on the pedal. The grassroots is here. Black American Negro, the freedmen, we here. And pretty soon, I'm gonna say this. Sister Kim asked one thing. She said, what made us kind of feel like we should have other people make us feel like we were safe? I think what it is, we started allowing more Democrats we started letting the government speak for us. And when we did that, we lost touch with each other's businesses. But now these businesses is about to boil up. It's about to be like volcano lava coming over the edge, and we're all going to be able to pinpoint each other's business. And this money is about to start circulating between our Black American Negro companies, freedmen companies, and yeah, the money. Listen, everybody, this is going to be very wealthy. It's going to be a very wealthy turnaround. But I'm going to land, and I'm going to actually go into the comments. I appreciate you, sisters, much.
Thank you. And don't forget, you have to schedule your interview with me too, Simon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, Sister Breuck. So I did see your comment. I checked my request, and I didn't see one from Brother Divine by the name that you gave me, but I do remember the profile picture. I just followed him the other day. So all he has to do is follow me back, and he should be able to get up in my room. The reason why my page is private is because when I come off these panels, they're either in my comments or in my inbox. It's really weird. They have this stalker energy. Why would you want a friend request or follow somebody that just tore your jugular out on the panel? So I find that weird. Even today, I'll come off the panel. It could be weeks later, and there's BX, you're hateful, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, I don't even remember you. Like, when did I see you? When did I interact with you? Stop being a fan. So that's why my page is private, and I have to approve anybody that follows me. But Brother Divine is definitely welcome on my panel anytime. It doesn't even have to be an interview. Yeah. So how are you, Brooke?
I'm wonderful. I definitely let him know. He's new to TikTok as well, so maybe he thought he sent a request and he didn't. But to talk on topic, ma'am, you are absolutely correct in a lot of things. I definitely have questions about what you would like us to join, because I didn't.